Good morning. My name is Loy Williams, and I we have a great topic for you today. I'd like to welcome you here to the panel. Joining me on the panel are Karen Downy, Susan Jarboe, and Reverend Linda, who is going to, with her permission, lead us into prayer.
I would love to, Loy. I can't wait to hear your topic. Please join us as we kind of get centered and focused and ready for our discussion today. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you and let go of anything and everything that isn't a part of right here, right now. Please join us as we take a breath together and turn within. God, Divine Spirit, we rejoice in knowing our oneness with one another and all that is. God, help us to be a gift to those who are watching. Help to be within our words, our thoughts, our actions as we co create this wonderful video with one another through you. Amen.
Amen.
All yours, Loy.
Thank you very much, Reverend Linda. As I mentioned before, this is a great topic. It's one that I've been working on for quite some time now, and it's basically on how to integrate your shadow side, your shadow self. And some people, although I'm beginning to wonder whether everyone doesn't know this topic now, but some people might not know what I mean by the shadow self. And quite simply, in its simplest terms, the shadow self is the part of us that we don't want to show anybody. The bad stuff, the things from the past that we don't want people to realize that we've done. I myself, and part of my shadow self would be I was a thief. I used to steal things in order to support my addiction. I don't generally like having people know about that part of myself, but uh, I'm not ashamed of it anymore because I know one thing, I no longer do it. Another thing is I was able to integrate that part of myself and to become the person that I am now, which I'm pretty happy with. Not always, but I'm pretty happy with it now. Um, what I'd like to do is read. I'm getting my material from this book, the the Shadow Work Journal, Embrace Your Hidden Self. I don't know if there it is, the Shadow Work Journal, and essentially the section that I'm working on right now is how to integrate your shadow side. There are a few ways of doing this. One of the ways is forgiveness. Once you develop a deeper understanding of yourself, you'll naturally find more compassion for others and their flaws. You'll begin to see how negative patterns, including generational cycles of abuse and trauma, affect behaviors. And I'm a perfect example of that. For instance, you may realize that verbal abuse or harmful beliefs like real men don't cry have been passed down across generations. And understanding the origins of these negative patterns makes it easier to forgive those who perpetuated them, recognizing that they were likely victims of their own upbringing. Um, Before I go any further, I'd like to apologize for the eye patch. I do have an eye. It's just that I have, you can see it right there. It's just that uh, not too long ago, I detached my retina. So now everything is sort of cross-eyed for me. So if I don't have something blocking this eye, I will see double versions of everything. Um, Another way of integrating your shadow side would be the unconditional love, and this passage is especially good for me. When the shadow surfaces, and it will, and it does a lot. When the shadow surfaces, it can evoke feelings of shame, guilt, or fear. This is where the power of self-love becomes critical. As you confront these emotions, remember that shadow work is essential for raising your vibration, or especially in a world that is continuously evolving. Treat your shadow like a misunderstood child who just wants to be trusted. Give it love, acceptance, and let it know that it is finally safe. Affirm to your shadow that it is loved, it is understood, and that it is okay for these difficult feelings to surface. Though through unconditional love, sorry about that, you'll gradually heal the deep wounds that the shadow represents. And I'd like to share an example of an exercise that I do, or that I've just started doing it, but I enjoy it a lot. And that exercise is essentially affirmations in front of the mirrors. It's a mirror exercise. And the way to do this is to find a mirror, choose one that allows you to gaze in it comfortably for at least 15 minutes. In my case, it's my bathroom mirror. If necessary, set a timer. And then look into your eyes. You may notice physical flaws. I myself notice constantly physical flaws. Um, Wrinkles or gray hair or asymmetrical features or a detached retina. And these can distract you, but keep going. And you want to repeat affirmations like "I am beautiful," which I am. I'm a good-looking fella. I am beautiful. I am safe. I am understood. I am loved, and I am adored. And one thing that I always force myself to do is to pretend that I believe it, which strangely enough, even when I don't believe it at first, after I'm done, I kind of feel better about myself. That is my presentation, and I'd love to hear what the rest of the panel has to say about this.
Okay, I'll go. Loy, you are right in the middle of some of the hardest work I ever did in my entire life. There was a time when I thought I was all shadow. Finding any light was too big, too much to hope for. And just minimizing the damage I was doing to myself and others was about as close as I could come to doing this work. It took me years, and I'm really glad that you're sharing this. This is such intensely personal work that each and every one of us do to whatever extent that we can. And for me, I've had to do an awful lot of that. When I first started, I couldn't even imagine a world where I would be in at one-ment, right, with my shadow self. And I've gotten there, but it's been a long and incredible, incredible journey. I also got those very devastating and hurtful sayings and beliefs when I was little. Um, I I was intelligent, and that was not acceptable for a girl. I was told to dumb that down, to shut my mouth, not to show up anybody and just be quiet. I got hurt a lot when I was a kid. It was hard for me to speak in public. I had a firm belief that if you didn't see me, you couldn't hurt me. So it was very hard for me to speak publicly, to believe in myself, to have confidence. And then there was all that time in my disease. You said you were a thief. I was so much worse than that. And I really believe that's who I was, that I was consumed by my shadow, and that was the only self I had. I commend you for the work that you're doing. It's a long journey, and you know, you put your feet on the path. I think there's no going back. You might start with those little baby steps, but you start seeing the benefit, and all of a sudden those steps become longer and stronger, and you will be amazed at who you find when you get through that shadow side. That's all I got.
That was awesome, Reverend. Thank you so much for that. It's funny you would mention the fact that you thought you were basically all shadow. I also felt that I was no, there was all shadow, no light whatsoever. But you can't really have a shadow unless there's light. So by realizing that, I was able to start this process right now. Who wants to go next?
I really like the concept of the shadow self. To me, there's some elegant poetry to that phrasing that I really like. And I took away three things from what you presented. The first was when you said, tell your shadow self that it's loved, it belongs, and so on. And I was thinking, you're you're suggesting we talk to our shadow selves as if they were children who needed reassurance. And that is a whole new concept to me, to link the idea of the shadow self being childlike. Now, I know of some family models of therapy and so on and so forth that talk about the child, but this was the first, what do I say, sort of a spiritual link to the negative that I have heard. And because I've never even thought of loving my shadow self. I mean, it's all I can do to work on acceptance and tolerance, much less love. But I can see where you're going, and it's a very useful thought. The second thing I noticed, and I was kind of amused at this, is when you were talking about mirror work, which I have done with some Unity people in another context. You mentioned that sometimes you pretend to believe it. And that reminded me of in depression therapy groups and so on, support groups, one of the phrases we've had, and I'm sure you've all heard it, fake it till you make it. And I'm not saying that's a universal way to approach change, but it is one way to approach change. Pretend that you're the most beautiful woman in the room or whatever equivalent you want. Um, the last thing that I wanted to comment on is how you educated me because I didn't know this or see this before, but the way you linked being addicted to the shadow self, to me, that was profound. That was a whole new way for me to look at addiction. And I really appreciate, by the way, um, your openness and Reverend Linda's openness to sharing that with us, because the rest of us first can always use a little bit more education, and we learn from some of the trials that addicts have experienced. And I just really appreciate that. So thank you, Loy, for an enlightening approach to the shadow self. I've gotten several good ideas from it. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. I really appreciate this. I especially appreciate that you understood the fake until you make it concept. It, and I learned that in a really strange way. I learned it uh, by this way that I have of finding my lost car keys. Essentially, I'll say, uh, I'll look for my keys and then I'll get really upset and I'll say to myself, "Oh, I know where they're at," and I'll just wait for something to happen, and 99 times out of 10, my keys will appear. Um, so I use that to carry the fake it till you make it concept into, oh, I am a good looking fella. I am loved. I am safe. Okay, I really am safe. That's generally where that idea came from. Thank you so much, Susan. I really appreciate your comments. All right, Karen, it looks like it's up to you now. Take us home.
Thank you, Lloyd. I love your topic. I love the topic of the shadow. Um, and I like especially the way you put it, Reverend Linda, it's a long journey. There's always a new little piece of that shadow. Also, taking a positive on that, a lot of it I can laugh at now and be more authentic because I'm not trying to cover up something. And and the things that I wrote down as you were sharing, um, what I grew up with and internalized the shadow. I was bad because they told me I was bad. And I knew I was bad because they hauled me around to hospitals, psychiatrists, hypnotherapists. I was the problem. Now, granted, I did have problems, and those problems, I stole, I lied, I cheated, I did all of those things. And they're part of the tapestry of who I am. Today, like looking in that mirror, and I mean, you said this too. It's like I can relate to the person that stole, that's lied. It's like, so that's addicted. Um, there were so many things I used as a child, food especially. I did some really strange things with food as a kid. Um, and the depression. And now looking back on some of those things, what have I learned? It's like, well, depression is an angry child inside wanting to get out. And it's like, yeah, when you're shut down, but you don't even know you're shut down because you're just kind of plopped into this family. Well, no, actually, we choose it for the lessons we need to learn in this life. Um, all of this stuff's a cry for help. It's a cry for help. And I need to remember that also, like as an adult now, when I start spiraling into depression, because that has been my thorn. It's been my thorn, but it's also been a blessing because it's taken me to places that I never would have gone before. And it's also given me the ability to talk about things that other people don't want to talk about. It's like, oh, I don't want to go there. That's dark. Well, yeah. So, and I think earlier in one of our talks, we talked about, I think it was you, Loy, that talked about being on a time, if I had a time machine to go back, would I change anything? And it's like, no, our past is the tapestry of who we are. And the more honest we can be about not our ego stuff, but mostly the shadow stuff as it's revealed is the key to what I can give to my children. I mean, I don't have to pretend that their childhood was great. I was a great parent and all that. It's like I can fess up to the things that weren't fessed up as I grew up. My parents were perfect. They were perfect. So I can stop beating myself up and I can look at them in the mirror most days. I don't have to have any little pasties anymore to remind me that I'm okay, just as I am. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I love our discussions on the shadow. Yeah. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Karen. I really appreciate you reminded me of something. It's in order to part of integration of the shadow self is to remember that the things that I see in other people that I don't like, well, it comes from inside me, and it comes from that shadow self. So I appreciate you reminding me of that too. And I think we share a bit of the same. Yeah, is my parents were you're bad, I'm good. You're stupid, I'm smart kind of mentality. And I integrated that self into me in a negative way. But because of my work that I'm doing right now, I'm able to integrate it more positively. And I thank you for your comments, and thank everyone. I thank everyone for their comments on this panel today. Wow, I didn't think there was going to be that great a share. I did. I mean, because look who I'm working with. But um, uh, thank you so much, everyone. And what I'd like to do now is to ask Reverend Linda to close us out so that we can carry this into our life.
Thank you, Loy. My great honor. I too very much enjoyed this topic. We would love to hear about your journey with your shadow self. Please feel free to leave any comments you want to on our YouTube channel or contact the church and let them know. The information for getting a hold of the church is at the end of this video. We appreciate you sharing your day with us. If there's anyone that you know that would benefit from this video, please share this or any of our videos. We would love to be of service. Thanks again. Bye.
Thank you for joining us, and let's stay connected and grow in spirit. We are on Facebook. Search for Unity Church of El Cajon and follow us and like our posts. You can reach us on YouTube at Unity Church of El Cajon. Please subscribe to our channel, watch our videos, and leave comments which can help us improve. We are on the web at unityofelcajon.org. Email or call our church office to receive our weekly newsletters, which lists all of our activities and opportunities to learn and grow together.